global oil production will peak. The global economy will be devastated by it. We'll see oil wars. Everything will change as a consequence, and yet people won't be talking about the oil peak. They'll be talking about the unemployment figures. They'll be talking about the high price of food. They'll be talking about the fact that you can't get on an airliner and travel anymore because all of the airline industry has collapsed. There are only a few carriers still in business, and the tickets are astronomically expensive. They'll be talking about the latest war or terrorist incident, and they will have completely lost sight of the one event that caused all of those effects.
Hey everybody. So I'm going to get into a subject here with you that I've done a lot of research on over the last, probably 7 to 10 years I've been researching this issue. And I'm going to try to give you a way that you can talk to family members and friends about it. What I want to talk about today is global, what they call like global reserves of oil. Okay. Now, when some expert comes to you and tells you that there's no need to be concerned, we have X amount of oil in reserve. Okay, well, and with so much in reserve, like only doomsayers like like myself, they say, claim a crisis is happening or at hand and on the way. Well, here's what you ask them. You say, okay, well, how much can we produce per day? Right now, how much can we produce per day? Because the world needs, at this point, 88 million barrels of oil per day just to sustain economic growth. Now, if the world is only able to produce 70, 60, 50, or 40 million barrels per day, it really doesn't matter how much we have in reserve. This is pretty easy to understand for people who, like myself, who get up and they keep up with production versus consumption. It's not hard to figure out. But like I say, since you might have friends and family that you want to go to and try to convince them of the problem at hand, and just talk to them about it, then I'll try and give you an example that might come in handy when you're talking to them about why the large reserve numbers cited by all these big oil companies and OPEC and all them are very, very misleading. Alright, so let's say you have 10 kids, okay, and you can barely afford to feed and clothe them all, okay? So one day, you inherit $1 million bank account from like your long-lost cousin or something like that, okay? Now, you're already, you're rich now. You're ready to spend away. You and your kids have been waiting all this time to do what you want to do and take care of what you want to take care of. And then all of a sudden, your attorney explains to you like there's fine print in the will that you have to abide by, where it stipulates that let's say you can only withdraw $80 per day for the first year, okay? $78 per day during the second year, $75 per day during the third year, and $74 per day during the fourth year, and $71 a day during the fifth year, and so on and so forth until the whole $1 million account is drained. Now, so in other words, if you use this as an allegory to oil, you have $1 million in reserve during the first year, but you can only produce like $29,200 per year. And that's not going to go very far, considering, you have 10 kids and bills to pay on top of that. Well, now you got to look by the fifth year, you can only produce $25,550 per year. And if you need to rewind this video and go back and go over it again, that's fine. Go ahead. But like I say, by the fifth year, you can only produce $25,550 per year. Because remember, you're withdrawing, like $80 to $74 a day here. The amount you can produce will continue to shrink with each passing year, even though your expenses with your kids and bills continue to rise. See, it's kind of an allegory on how you can explain that to your family and friends about oil, because it's the same difference. And if you don't understand it, just go ahead and rewind and listen to it again. So now, you got to ask yourself, was that $1 million really a whole lot in the long run? I'm going to come back with more on this subject. I'm going to stay on this for quite some time, because it's something, like I said, I've researched for 7 to 10 years here. Take care.